Okay, good morning. Today, Be'ezrat Hashem, we're starting a new book, Cohen, Bet Shinet. The book is, 25 minutes. The book is called Happy Marriage, right? Happy Married, yeah. Happily Married by Rav Zamir Cohen. Basically, almost similar concepts to Rav Shalom Arush's book. Let's see what he has to say. He says the general opinion in the world is that most people are unhappy in their marriage. Psychologists say that when they see a couple walking together in the street, they can immediately tell if they're married or not. The faces of the married couples are blank. Yeah, when two people are married, they don't even look at each other. No happy, no smile, no this. Yeah, as they make dry conversation, while the unmarried couple beam at each other and bubble over with conversation. Yeah, when a person is not married yet, he's going out with her, he's smiling, he's thinking what to say, he's walking around with excitement. Yeah, married people, what? He barely sees her, she sees him, they're walking. He says there's a well-known story of the engaged woman who, upon leaving her home of the fiancé parents, trips over a rock and falls down. The young man panics, tells her to sit down, rest, asks her repeatedly, "Are you okay?" Gets her a glass of water. Yeah, he's old. Before he's engaged, right? He's worried about her. But when the same thing happened a year later, after the wedding, when he got married, and she trips, what does he say? "Why don't you watch where you're going?" Yeah, he tells her. He doesn't do the, "Are you okay? Get the water." You don't have eyes to see. Studies have shown that most couples are disappointed with their choices of spouse. So much so that if they could go back in time, they would choose someone else. This is a terrifying statement. And before we started our learning about 5-6 months ago, that's how it was. Many guys over here say, "You know what? I made a mistake. If I probably would have gone back, I probably would have married somebody else," which is a very bad statement to say. Why? Because you think that the next one is going to be better. But guess what? If you don't use the concepts of this book and the other book that we learned, it's the same exact thing, but just a little bit of different face, maybe different shape. He says, is it right that many couples feel it's not the worst thing in the world to feel bitter and suffer in a marriage? Because that's just the way marriage is? Yeah? Meaning, is that how marriage is? Bitter? And initially, that's how I actually thought. For 20 years, 25 years, I thought, you know what? Married life is just living a bitter life. And most importantly, is it possible to build a successful and truly happy marriage life? And if so, how? Yeah? He says the Torah teaches us, and experience has proven, that an understanding of the systematic structure of marriage and identification of the emotional and psychological differences between men and women guides and teaches each spouse how to meet the other's real needs. Yes, we finished that other book. Yeah, we finished last time. You were here, we finished it. Yeah, we finished it, yeah. So he says, when a person understands what the difference is between man and woman, which we really don't understand. We think that she's just like us. We kid around with each other, we could kid around with her, but it's not the case. He says, from there, it is much shorter road to true happiness in marriage. Satisfaction is guaranteed to any couple that follows this path. Meaning, if you're going to learn about who your wife is, and she's going to learn who the husband is, right? It's almost guaranteed that everything is going to be fine. Any marriage counselor knows that the main cause of marital discord is the limited understanding of the nature of the relationship and its purpose, and the way to live together in marriage in mutual harmony. It's because we don't understand what that is. We think we're going to come in, everything is going to be fine and dandy, everything is going to be good. When marriage is subject to the daily grind, it's that much more important to invest in its success. In these pages, we will explore, Be'ezrat Hashem, the Torah way to a wonderful and satisfying marriage. This happiness is closer than you think. Yeah. In the first section, we'll discuss practical tools. Okay, so let's get back. The caveat: when the book on marriage are written for both men and women, basically saying we can't learn what their responsibilities are, and we can't learn a book together with our wife, right? Why? Because she's going man has to do this. You see what it says? Man has to do this. Man has to do this. Woman has to do this. You see, woman has to do. So basically, we're going to learn what we have to do. And they have a similar book. Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to have to find a woman who's going to teach the book to them, so that they can basically understand what it is to be a good wife. Okay, he says this is. Let's start with the common question. What is the natural state of marriage? Happy or unhappy? So they asked a lot of people. It says, marriage, right? Is it happy or unhappy? What would you say? Before this book, I would for sure say unhappy. Yeah? yeah, before the book, I would say, oh, marriage means unhappy. Why? It's always some kind of a problem, right?
What situation you are?
Huh? Oh, he says, when we raise this question in front of an audience, as expected, answers varied. Half the group said unhappy, the other half said positive, he said happy. Now let's ask another question. What's the nature of the state of a car? Mobile or stationary? What would you say? A car, is it mobile or stationary?
It depends if
Mobile?
you're parking it or if you're
Oh,
driving.
very nice, very nice.
When it's
The
not
natural state.
Oh.
On its own, it's stationary.
It's stationary. All right, so he says most people will say mobile, but the correct answer is twofold. If you start the engine and give it gas, its natural state is mobile. But if you don't start the engine, its natural state is static. Like you said, if it's parked, it's parked.
alone.
Yeah.
When you start the car,
Yeah.
you're not going to put in the gear.
Very good. Says this simple analogy, which is clear and comprehensible when referring to a car, is that much more relevant when it comes to describing married life. If couples would only put as much effort into working on the relationship after the wedding as they did before the wedding, they would have no divorces. Why? In the beginning, when we're going out with the wife, right, before we get married, what do? Wow, flowers. Gosh, should I surprise her? Let me send her a little, good morning, my love. How are you? Yes, I can't wait for that day that we get married. This, that, yeah. We invest a lot of time in this, in this studio. We bring different kind of flowers. We do, okay, last time I brought this flower. Listen, nowadays what? $20 flower. Listen, by the way, here's $80 for the month. Just keep bringing the same flowers. Don't matter on Saturday, right? Or Friday, whatever it is. He says, couples make a tremendous effort before their wedding because they want to do everything in their power to ensure a happy and successful marriage. But if that's the case, why not protect the most important investment a person will ever make by giving it some attention afterwards as well? If a person spends thousands of dollars on constructing a beautiful garden, but neglects to water and weed it once in a while, we would call him a fool. Surely your marriage is more valuable than a garden. Imagine you build a nice, beautiful garden. I went walking in Forest Hills, yeah? Some of these front lawns are very beautiful. They invest money in the gardener that comes. If you look at mine, it's terrible. I don't pay for the money, yeah. I don't pay. There's no grass, there's no nothing. Yeah, I don't even put water, to be honest, huh?
If a garden is beautiful, it means you have a beautiful relationship.
Very nice, very nice.
Your relationship is messy.
So you should know, the guy who has a beautiful garden, his relationship is like this. Why? He invests a lot of time outside, but not inside. Outside messed up, but inside, hopefully, Baruch Hashem is getting much better. But I know those people, you know what they do? They just brick everything out, They just put concrete
You
everywhere.
can't place down the garden like the wife.
Yes,
So if you're not
yes.
gonna put
Good.
water in
So
it,
he says yes.
you're
He says you have to nurture. And we mentioned in the other book, you have to nurture your children. You have to nurture your wife. You have to nurture the relationship. You have to nurture the business. Imagine a person buys a business and he just doesn't do anything. What kind of business is that going to be? It's not going to be much. He says, we could very easily provide the most important element and guidance to married couples. And all they would have to do is feed and water the marriage with basic maintenance. But that would ignore a very important question that inevitably arises among married couples. What happens if we are doing everything right, caring for and giving our spouses whatever they need, and problems still arise as a result of tremendous differences that exist between them? Each side is coming from a completely different place in terms of their opinions, their way of running the house and family, the way they think, the way they eat. Everything is different. So how is it possible to reconcile the differences and still be happy together, especially when each side thinks the other one is mistaken? Yeah, in a marriage, right? We eat differently. We act differently, yeah? Your wife, my wife was in Israel. I was over here. Different mindsets, yeah? Sorry about that. How is it that two people that are completely different, yeah, come to a marriage? They have different ideologies, and they're expected to what? They're expected to accept each other. For sure, one of the spouses thinks the other spouse is wrong. Yeah, it says the real mistake is viewing this difference of opinion and lifestyle as a negative that needs to be changed or even eradicated. You hear what he says? A lot of times when we see a difference in our spouse, we think it's negative. It's no good. So I gave an example in the house. I was, just reviewing the first part, which doesn't really. I said, imagine, one of the spouses is lazy. Is that a bad thing? It's not a bad thing. That's how that person is. Meaning that person was born like that. He was raised like that. So how can you unlazy the person, the spouse? How? You cannot. But now you're in this situation, right? 1 second. You're in this situation, right? So now you have to kind of work with it, right? You have to make the best out of it.
If you do it now, she might get used to it.
Again, I'm not saying that you should do her things. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying the person is now like this, right? Yeah. Let's say you married a girl, you didn't know she didn't have a pinky, right? You didn't know. She doesn't have a pinky. Or let's say she doesn't have the index finger. What, you're gonna divorce her? No. She's a nice person overall. Yeah. Happened to be that when you were holding, when she was like holding the cup in front of you, you didn't see that thing. You thought she was just going, But I'm saying, are you gonna divorce her? No. So she has a little bit of a we could say defect or whatever, but we have to work with that defect. So he's saying over here, when a person has a certain character flaw, it doesn't mean it's negative. See, we look at it as negative. Why? Because immediately, if it's not like me, it's negative. Here? So therefore he says, you shouldn't look at it as a negative. There's a good reason why God said, when he created Chava, the wife of Adam, I shall make him a helpmate opposite him. At first it's hard to understand. What kind of a helper can be if she is against him? Yeah, it clearly says it in the Torah. But there's a very deep hidden there's a deep hidden idea in these words. It says, I'll make for him a helpmate, says God, and she will help him because of this very opposition. She will have a completely different perspective and mindset than he, because the only way to achieve the necessary balance between men and women, and husband and wife, is when one person is able to see two sides of the coin, weigh every matter from two perspectives, and as a result, draw a correct, precise conclusion. For instance, I gave the example of imagine a woman you see in front of the back, and she happens to be pregnant, right? Now let's say you need to move a heavy thing. So you look at her, you think, oh, maybe she could help me, right? But meanwhile, so without seeing the whole perspective, you're not going to be able to make a decision. So if she turns around, she's very heavy, you cannot work with her. So he says, a good relationship is when you see all the sides of whatever you're dealing with. Therefore, he's going to give you a wife, right, who's completely different than you. Why? If we want to make a decision, let's say you and I want to make a decision, and you're thinking exactly like me, what do I need you for, right? Whatever I'm thinking, you're thinking. Right. So therefore, the decision we're going to make is one-sided decision. However, if you're completely different, and I'm completely different, and we want to make a decision on something, you can express your opinion, I'm going to express my opinion. Let's say we're investing millions of dollars on something, and now we could work together, like, oh, I didn't even realize that you took it at this angle, and if we buy it like this, oh wow, so now we have two opinions that are looking at the whole picture in a different way. It says, but if a man gets insulted by his wife's different opinion, and if she feels hurt because her husband doesn't agree with her immediately, the two of them will be missing out on the entire purpose and value of the difference between them, until their marriage will eventually go up in smoke and be destroyed. Now, let's stick to this. Imagine I tell you, well, you know what? I think if we buy the building, it's like this. And you're like, what are you talking about? And you completely dismiss me. You might be at fault at really understanding what the whole, value behind it is. Or same thing with me. What do we have to do? Even though I don't agree with what you're saying, I have to take it and say, maybe he's right. Maybe from this angle it says, okay, I see. And then you as well as me, right? But he says, imagine discount your wife completely, or she's not agreeing to what you're saying. Therefore, the most basic and important principle in building marital harmony is the understanding that what looks like a real deficit is actually a tremendous asset. For example, the female tendency towards patience and restraint will be her guide when she's making a big decision, such as buying a home or opening a business. Yeah, she will check everything out, research, go back and forth, ask various different questions until finally she makes a decision. This is a perfect complement to the male tendency to act quickly and sometimes even irresponsibly, right? A man is very quick to make decisions. Because he knows, if this comes up, I'll do this. If that comes up, woman, no. What about this? What about this? How much is the water bill? Who cares what the water bill is, yeah? But imagine, what if the water bill is $1,000 a month? Yeah, you probably thinking there's no such thing, but there is such a thing. Because one time I rented, Who said yeah? One time I rented a house, and these people just I don't know what they did. The water bill was tremendously crazy. You think, how could they spend that kind of money, yeah? So imagine you didn't ask that question. He says, oh, it's $1,000 a month, but everybody pays that. You're like, no way, nobody pays that. It's $150 a month, yeah? So I'm saying, this difference works perfectly for them. If he signs on the lease or on the purchase before adding his wife's requirements and reservations into his calculations, he is bound to make a mistake. And if she was left to make her decision on her own, she would never make a decision. Why? Because women take too long to make decisions. So he says, and he would miss out on the important opportunities. With this in mind, we can now understand the words of God. I will make for him a helpmate against him and set off the right path towards a happy marriage. Meaning, this house example is just an example, but he's saying in many different things, your wife will sometimes tell you something that sounds like too far, and you'll be like, where are you coming from? But you know what? He says, put a little bit of weight to what she's saying. Maybe it could actually work to the benefit. And same thing with her to you. He says, it's obvious that a country who has two presidents won't function properly and will quickly collapse. Yeah? Imagine having two presidents. Biden and let's say Trump. It would be chaos. Right? He has this mindset, this guy has this. He says, but if you have two cabinet members, each with a different duties, working under the same government, they can accomplish a lot. Each has their own constituency as well as different tasks in serving the country in general. They are also interdependent. The foreign minister deals with matters of state and foreign activity. And the minister of interior deals with matters of state and internal activities, right? Meaning when I have a country, one deals with outside matters, one deals with inside matters, one deals with security, one deals with whatever, yeah? He says, of course, the right people need to be chosen for their specific tasks. A foreign minister needs to be sharp, fluent in foreign languages, diplomatic, and capable of developing good relationships with world leaders. A minister of the interior needs to be an expert on the needs of cities, towns, must be able to work together with municipal leaders, and know how to allocate funding properly. He says, both of these positions are essential for the effective running of a country. Each one, although their tasks and skills are different, can assist and complement the other whenever necessary. Now let's substitute our cabinet members for husband and wife, and we'll have a pretty good analogy. If a couple views the essential of marriage as two people filling identical roles, they and their marriage are doomed to fall, as the example of two presidents proves. As it says in the Talmud in Chulin, can two kings wear a single crown? God wouldn't assign the same role to both people in a marriage. There's no such thing as an identical married couple, neither emotionally nor physically. Now I know what people are going to say to me. Yeah, but we see a lot of women, she wants to wear the pants in the house. Do you know why she wants to wear the pants in the house?
Because you don't.
Because you don't wear the pants in the house. She doesn't want to wear the pants in the house. She doesn't want to be the leader. She doesn't want to be the whatchamacallit. She wants to follow. She wants to do what her husband is leading her to do. But what happens when she's a bikor guy? Yeah, a guy that you know, she's like, listen, we don't know. It's like, So what does she do?
He's religious.
Oh, what?
He's religious.
That doesn't mean anything. What do you mean religious? Don't think religious guy, no, you should know. You should know that a lot of religious guys who don't work and their wives make $150,000, $200,000 a year, you know how they make it seem? As if he's making the $200,000 a year. These women don't, no. They have their own chokhmah to the point where even though they're bringing a lot of money, they're making sure they give him the respect and the whatever. They're asking him, so how do you think we should pay the bills and whatever? And he says, oh, you're like this, like that. Yeah. Why? To show him, you're the leader. You tell me what to do. Even though she's bringing all the money. So what happens in many marriages? He is not acting like a man. And therefore she's seeing that she has now, a family that she has to manage. So she becomes, quote unquote, quasi a man. And then he, when it hits him a little bit, what? He starts to become a man. And all of a sudden, what? There's a whole clash. Why? Because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So I'm trying to get, and now he's butting in, meaning Kilu, he's butting in. Yeah? He says even animals were created according to the specific needs of their species. For example, the eyes of a prey animal, such as a deer and zebra, are positioned on either side of the head, so that while eating, their heads are facing, downward, but they're seeing, okay, who's going to come from this side, who's going to come from this side, right? But a predator, right? A predator's eyes are where? In the front. We happen to be predators, by the way.
From behind they come.
From behind they come. The predator. Right, I understand. But I'm saying predators don't have eyes on the side. We need to be focused on because we go to the kill. Similarly, herbivores have two long rows of molars to be able to grind their food properly, and their heads are longer to accommodate these molars. Carnivores, we happen to be carnivores, that's why we don't have this big mouth, however, have sharp fangs to help them tear the flesh of their prey because they don't require as many molars as herbivores. Their heads are more rounder, and so it goes in the natural world. In the animal world, how much more so would the crown of the creation, the human being, be formed with specific and precise design tools to aid him in fulfilling his role? The male and female are given two separate tools, tailor-made for their own gender. For a family to function properly, different characters are required. Every family needs one parent who is gentle, sensitive, aesthetic, but they also need a parent with superior strength and a strong presence to protect them, from any intruders or attacks. The roles are separate and different, but both are essential, right? You need a woman.
Complementing.
Exactly. You need a woman to be what? Gentle, this, that, whatever. And to a woman, how are you supposed to speak? Gentle and sort of what? Because that's how she is. A man, on the other hand, he's a little bit more rudier. He's a little bit more, and he needs to be. Why? Because he's the protector of the house. Now, what happens in a marriage life? He thinks that she's like him, that she has the same character as him. So sometimes he's a little bit too rough with her, thinking she's gonna understand. Why? That's how I am. That's how she has to be. Yeah. For this reason, God created one person, Adam, comprising of two, the stronger and more forceful male, and the gentle and more sensitive female. As it says, male and female, he created them, and he blessed them, and he named them Adam. Ooh. How does it say Hashem created man? He created man, male and female. Imagine, he says he created man, male and female. What does that mean? He says, we learn from this that the male and the female together are called one person. While unmarried, they never are more than half Adam, or half a person. As it says in Talmud Yevamot, any man who has no wife cannot be called a man. You hear? He says, we see that the natural state of a man's body is stronger and sturdier than that of a woman. His voice is deeper. His pattern of speech is generally abrupt and authoritative. His personality is more assertive. He's stronger and more stubborn. These traits enable him to carry out all the necessary functions required to provide external protection from his home and his family as the foreign minister of the house. A man is considered the foreign minister. Women's bodies are weaker. Their sentences are longer, more flowery. Their voice thinner, softer. Women are more aesthetic, thoughtful, sensitive, and flexible. A woman needs these qualities to manage the inner world of her family. This is not to say that men cannot manage the inner world of the family. Yeah, they cannot. He says, or women cannot manage the outside world. Rather, he has been given specific external tools for that role, as the woman has received these tools needed to carry out her more internal role. He is more concerned and suited to deal with external matters, and she is exquisitely designed to oversee internal matters. There are hundreds of proofs for this, and we'll be discussing some of them later on. Keep in mind that neither of these sets of traits are exclusive, meaning don't think that she cannot do the outside work and he cannot do the inside work. He says when one needs help carrying out the tasks, the other can and should come quickly to the aid of the other, right? And as we know, a lot of us do, right? We do our sometimes, household things that we need to do. A married couple that has internalized the fact that they're not identical and do not fulfill the same roles in their marriage and family, that there are two halves of a whole being that's uniquely suited to successfully build a family, has already blazed and trailed forward lasting marital harmony, when each side acknowledges the specific needs of the other according to the nature he was created with. He knows exactly what he needs to do and nurture the other. Now, even this, when we were married, we weren't told. I don't know. Were you told? I wasn't really told. Yeah, that we're two different people, have two different roles. Yeah, we assume that the woman is the house and the man is the outside. But some women think, no, why should that be? You be the house, I be the outside. Yeah, he says it's important to note that requesting assistance from the other doesn't contradict the personality or the needs of one who's providing the help. The ability to help is part of their nature in a wonderful way, so much so that he will find that the giving itself brings its own satisfaction. Yeah, he says helping the other person is not something foreign. He goes, you'll see that by you wanting to help the other person, you will see satisfaction in it. Let's continue for another couple of minutes. Studies have shown that women need to spend much more quality time sharing thoughts and experiences than men do. When a woman tells her husband all about what's happening at work and how her day was, and he takes the time to listen and empathize with her, she will feel that she and her husband communicated beautifully. He was with me there, every place that I talked about, yeah? She'll think at work, at the supermarket, the doctor's office, the bank, the post office. He went through it all with me. Isn't that amazing? She is energized by the connection and inspiration to do even more for her husband and a family than before. Why is it that women love to tell us about their day? We don't care. Yeah, we don't go, oh, I did this, I went over here, I went to shul, I did like that, I went to this, and then I went to get a bagel, then I went to work, and then I went there, then I came back. We don't need that. He says, they need it. You know why? Because as they're telling you, they're thinking, you went with them to the bank, you went with them to the post office, you went with them shopping, you didn't go, you were at work. But because she told you and you listened, and you said, oh yeah, oh wow, yeah, nice. She feels, me and my husband, we were together all day. Yeah? See, it's that whole mentality. Huh? Well, it's a mindset. But what do? We're like, listen, I don't have to, I gotta take this call. Yeah. And what does she feel? Oh, this guy doesn't even care about me. You hear? A woman is like a circle. She needs partnership and to feel that she has someone to back her up. That's what, and you know what? If we don't do that, guess what? Some other person is going to do that. A man is an arrow by nature. He lives in his personal space and advances alone. When he gives her information she has asked for, he feels that's the conversation. How was your day? Very good. What'd you do? Nothing. He says, if he doesn't understand her and doesn't fulfill her true needs, she'll feel alone and distressed. While he stands by, scratching his head thinking, what's wrong with her? Yeah? And many of our wives, I don't know about yours, but many of our wives have fallen to this for years. He doesn't understand that she feels like she's missing a partner in life, someone to share all her experiences with. She views the term partnership according to her true nature. Meaning, he says a woman wants to always be with this husband. And even though she's not with him throughout the day, by telling him all that she did, she says she feels in her mind that he was with me. Says since a woman is more marriage and family oriented, she needs regular communication and daily proof that their relationship is solid. She gets this from her husband through kind words, thoughtful behavior, and plenty of attention. A man is more solitary and independent, purposeful and matter of fact, and he acts according to what he sees. If everything looks okay, he'll assume that everything is fine, and he won't even feel the need to invest extra energy in maintaining their relationship. A man, he sees everything is moving good, eat, go to sleep. For a woman, no. She says, her thing is, do I have my relationship today? Do I have my relationship today? Is he with me? Is my husband my husband? Is he? And that's why she's constantly what? Sweetie, I did this, I did that. Oh, that. Oh, my pinky is. Oh, I cut myself. Who cares? He's thinking, listen, everything's fine. The bills are paid. Everything's done. We good. He says, a woman by nature thirsts constantly for affirmations, particularly from her husband. If she doesn't get them from him, she'll come up with all sorts of creative ways to make him say this. She'll start complaining or take offense at something he says to her, that he'll be forced to explain and apologize and ultimately express her love. Then she'll hear the words she's been starving for. Her husband may have no idea how important it is for her to hear these words. Now I understand why they argue. Yeah, until this, you hear what he's saying?
He's saying that they want to have negative.
He's saying because you don't give her attention, you know what she does? Negatively, she will get the attention. You hear about that? Negative. You don't give her, hi sweetie, how are you? How's everything? How's your day? You don't do that. You come in, you eat, yeah, you go, and now she starts complaining. You know why she complains? Because now you're gonna, what the complaining she's? Oh, you giving me attention? And again she's gonna complain. And you go, what? Well, he's talking to me. You understand? So negatively, she's getting your attention. Of course, she wants it part. You're thinking she's messing you up. But you know what she's thinking? At least my husband's giving me the attention. By the way, This is the same thing with kids, you should know. A lot of kids, they very much need attention. But what happens? We're too busy making money and we don't give them attention. And you know what happens? The dean calls you, the rabbi calls you, the police call you, chas v'shalom, the ambulance, yeah? You know why? Because at least I get this attention. Why did you take the moped and you went over here? How can you steal the car? How did you take the keys and whatever? I see somebody over here got in trouble like this, huh?
No, he wants a moped.
You hear what I'm saying? Why? Because you don't give them the attention. But if every day you come, Johnny Papesh, what do you need? How was everything? How was your day? They're full of attention. You know what? They're not going to seek this negative attention from you. Why? Because they're getting the positive attention from you. Okay, Bezrat Hashem, tomorrow Friday, yeah. Bezrat Hashem, we'll see. Tomorrow we're going to continue, but this is going to get even juicier. He's preparing us, of understanding of our wives. And Bezrat Hashem, once we get the full understanding of who our wives are, what they need, that they're different from us, we'll be able to have peace and harmony in our marriage. Baruch Adonai Olam, amen, amen.